forge your inner armor.
Yeah, I think there's this real conflict at times between, what is it that I think I can do? What are other people telling me that they think my potential is? But then the reality of day to day as I kind of live in the trenches. Some of that's a reframing, even as I'm doing my job or a mom at home, doing laundry. That's important. It matters how you do it. And so some of that's a reframing of what your potential is. I look at trying to get the most out of who I am between the mind and the body connection, and making sure that connection is as solid as possible so that when I'm in the opportunity for my potential to come out, it has a greater possibility that it will show up when it's time to show up. I've had the opportunity, privilege to be able to do testing for the NBA draft as well as the NFL. So I've done multiple NBA draft testing, close to 100 different NBA athletes, done multiple draft testing for the NFL. It's interesting, particularly in the NBA, I think back because we've done so much of that over the years for teams. A lot of these guys look the same, at that level. They have the same wingspan, they're all 6'8", which seems crazy. They can all run the same speed. They're coming out of these great colleges, and you're looking at the classic analytics, and you're like, how do we define what's different? Well, some organizations have figured out we need to look under the hood and see what's going on in the nervous system, in the mind-body connection. And what's interesting, we've developed a process called neuroanalytics, where we look at all these different things, and we'll come into a team and say, these two possibly power forward positions that you're looking at, they look exactly the same. Maybe the shooting percentage is off by 2%. But when we look under the hood, we see some subtle differences that one person is really doing cognitively, visually, hormone-wise, sleep-wise, recovery-wise, about the best that I would expect them to do. And then we'll see this, I've defined it as the bent needle in the haystack, is we'll see this guy who looks exactly the same, and then all of a sudden we'll find out his binocular vision is off by 25%. So just athletically, he's figured out how to hit three-pointers, but he doesn't even realize that if we fix his binocularity, he's going to be better. Or his recovery cycles, his sleep architecture, his deep sleep is off by 30%, which is affecting his testosterone development, which there's more power under the hood if I could fix his sleep cycle. And so a lot of times these organizations that I'll work for will pick up the bent needle in the haystack, because we know if we can fix that, oh my goodness, now we've found the next NBA all-star, not just somebody to fill a position. Yes, we're talking about it on the pro level, but this is the real life level in the trenches as well. You have to kind of command or control these things. You got to bring them forward. You can't just wish them into being. It's not the will to win that counts. It's the will to prepare to win that counts. We can sit around willing, hoping all the time, but if we're not doing the preparation, it's not going to happen. This receiver, all through college, exceptional, gets into the NFL, and he starts to notice as the game gets faster, there's more demands on him, and there's more data coming back, that he does much better when he lines up on the right side of the field and is catching the ball over his left shoulder. But every time they line him up on the left side of the field, he gets a little bit more anxiety because he knows it's harder for me on the left side of the field. So we start looking at this, not just like, well, we're just going to line him up on the right side all the time. Well, that's not going to work in the NFL. We start looking and he's like, did you know that you have a weakness in the synchronization of your right and left eye? you tend to go to your left eye as a dominant eye under stress and shut down the use of the right eye. So that means when he's going down the right side of the field, looking over his left shoulder, simple, right? The ball's just coming right to him, right over his shoulder. But imagine now he's going to the left side of the field. His left eye is stronger, and that's what he tends to dominate under stress and becomes monocular instead of binocular. So in order for him to really focus in on that eye, he literally has to turn his whole body to get his head in position. And he's so just gifted naturally, athletically, that sure, he can do this. When we started repairing this, like we didn't go out and, I didn't run routes with him, right? I didn't let's visualize you catching the ball. Not that that's not a good thing to do, okay? But your focus is off. Let's give you this to make you focus better. We went back to the origin of this, which is his eyes, found the weakness, strengthened that offline with equipment and different things that we use to strengthen that. And all of a sudden, he's not turning his body when he lines up on the left side. Well, he thought, and all the data, all the analytics said, this is what this guy's potential is. It's totally different now because we've repaired the upstream issue, and now he's doing things that he never thought he could do. But it really starts with the basics of breathing, sleep, and then getting some good data on yourself that shows you what your potential. I talked about some of that earlier with neuropsych testing, but we can actually look at the electrical activity in the brain and see if the brain is running very efficiently. But that data helps you start to give you markers to work off of. And also being careful not to be so reductionistic. Just don't look downstream at this one thing, but look at globally. You will get there. The human body and the human brain has massive capabilities, but we kind of got to put ourselves in a structured situation where we're chipping these things off one at a time.